Welcome to the Hunters Hub, a Monster Hunter community podcast for hunters by hunters. Hello, hunters, and welcome to Hunters Hub Episode 4. Today, it's just Fortuan as your host, but we are joined by Loborin again.
Hello.
And ZekromZero, who we're going to refer to as Zekrom.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome. So today, we're going to get into some fun mind exercises, kind of, for them. I've thought about these questions a bit. But I just kind of want to get sort of an idea of what other people think about this idea, and it's not a really serious episode, so don't worry about that. But before anything, we always like to have our newer guests introduce themselves. A lot of people have already been introduced to Loborin. I do believe has that happened already in our new iteration of this Lobo?
Yeah, I've introduced myself. We went over what game I started in. And what my favorite weapon and my favorite monsters are.
Has that happened since the rebrand, though?
I don't believe so.
So we probably have to have you go through it, at least real quick.
That's fine.
So Loborin, where did you start playing Monster Hunter?
So I originally started it back in Monster Hunter Tri, and by started I mean like touched it for an hour and was like, I'm not going to play this game series. And then I put it down, and then a year or so later, I think, I have no idea, 4U came out, and I had a 3DS, so I picked it up and tried it again, and it was a much different experience, and I enjoyed it and put hundreds of hours into it. And so that's where I actually started.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to start. It's a good one. So Zekrom, where did you start in the Monster Hunter series?
Well, I don't want to take too much time, but I'm very much the same, in which the first time I ever touched Monster Hunter, I was at a friend's house, and he was playing Tri on the Wii, and I was like, what is this? But my first real deep dive into it was 3 Ultimate for the 3DS.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good one also. Up until... it's toss up between 4U and Generations being my favorite, but I've always felt like every newest Monster Hunter has been my favorite, but the one that really floored me was 3U. That was the one I was so excited for.
Yeah, the wait time between Tri and 3U was a lot larger than any game before it or after it, isn't it? Is that right, from what I remember?
Yes, 4 years.
But
wow,
yeah,
it
no,
was insanely long.
It's because I had a 3DS. I didn't really it was still early on in the years, because the 3DS started off pretty rough with only a few games until Nintendo started ramping up. But then Monster Hunter really gave me I think 700 hours on the 3DS alone, and then I ended up moving it over because I bought the game again on the Wii U because I was like, oh, I want to go online, because it was only local play on the 3DS if I remember correctly.
Yes, yeah, only Wi-Fi. Although you could still only Wi-Fi, but you could also link play with a Wii U.
Right, yes. So I got a Wii U, regrettably. Not that bad, but still. And then I rebought 3U just because I wanted to have a nice shiny coat of paint, and then I played even more. And then I remember getting I got pretty far. I unlocked Abyssal Laggy and Lucid Narga, and Lucid Narga was so fun to me. Just it seems a little annoying, but I just got so good at farming that. And then Abyssal Laggy is so... I don't think I like that fight because I didn't like the water that they introduced.
You're not alone. A lot of people don't like it. I'm okay with it. But
I was able to kind of do it, but that was playing on the 3 Ultimate. I don't know how anybody did it on a 3DS with a 3DS as a controller.
Oh, a funny story. I'm one of those weirdos who actually bought a Circle Pad Pro, and just because I really needed that complete experience on Monster Hunter. on top of that, your
I
hand.
had one too.
Yeah. On top of that, your hands would cramp up if you played for long hours of time, so you kind of needed the extra handle of fat from the Circle Pad Pro.
Because I heard lots of stories about the claw, but I've never experienced the claw because I never did it. I never played on the PSP.
I definitely experienced the claw, and I did it for a little while, and it's just like it's basically your brain just figures out like this is the most optimal way to hold your hand and still do everything. Eventually I was screw this, and I stopped doing it, and I adjusted all of my camera controls by tapping L. I just recentered on myself.
When I finally learned, because I do gunning a lot, when I finally learned that as long as you know where the monster is, it's perfectly okay to just shoot at the screen, even if you're not looking directly at the monster. And if you know precise about where it is, you can still do damage pretty well, and then just kind of adjust when you're free.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. So, into our next question for introductions. Loborin, what are your top 3 monsters?
So, top 3 monsters, I honestly like the Legiacris a lot, but that's because I never fought him in any of the 3 games. I only got to fight him, in Generations on land, and he's super fun on land, and I love the look of his weapons. Next, I'd probably say Bubble Dragon. I think I just kind of like Leviathans in general.
Mitsune, for those who don't know, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. yeah,
Yeah.
Mitsune. Just because I like the look, I like the color, I like how they fight. I haven't gotten to fight the special variant in
Double Cross.
Double Cross. I was trying to remember what it was called in English, and I forgot it doesn't exist yet. But yeah, I haven't gotten to fight the one in Double Cross yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
Are you talking about the Deviant?
Yeah. The one with the
The
slashed out
blind.
eyes.
It's blind. It was raised blind. That's why it uses its bubbles to feel stuff or whatever.
Ooh. And then third is kind of a cross up between a monster I never get to fight and one that I love fighting but nobody else wants to fight. Devil Joe, but nobody ever wants to fight him, so I've only fought him a total of 4 times ever. And then Dalamadur, because giant snake that looks awesome, has blades everywhere, and all of his weapons have blades everywhere. So he's fun.
Yeah, he's a cool one. Cool. So Zekrom, what are your top 3 and not 4?
Sorry.
Well, in order. Well, they're not really in any order, but I do like the
Sure.
Slytherin looking ones the most. I really like Agnactor. Which one's the big one?
A Cantor is the giant one. It
Yeah.
has 4 legs and tusks. And Agnactor is the Leviathan.
Right.
The crocodile.
Agnactor then, because I just love
Okay.
that laser breath is fun and ridiculous, and I remember just sliding, Supermaning through a bunch of them on 3U.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah.
It's my second favorite monster, a lot because of that flame beam.
One is mainly on the design is the Najarala. That's hard to say.
Najarala?
Yeah.
The snake?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's not an official thing. It's
Right.
just,
He's just really cool looking to me. I wish he was harder to fight because he's so easy to just mess up hard. His mechanics are cool, like trip mines and then sonic bombs. Sounds awesome.
He's real fun to play.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I haven't talked about him yet, but he's easily my 4th. He was the biggest surprise for me as far as wow, this is a fun monster in 4th generation.
Yeah.
He was gunning.
I don't gun. That was
Oh,
just a
that's
fun
right.
fight. I mean, I know how to, and I do from time to time, but yeah, not seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
And I guess my favorite monster just goes back to just Nagakuga. Any variation of him is just fun and exciting. It's just exciting to fight him, and it's really fun to cut off his tail, but then, he's still... the only thing I don't like about him is that he sleeps somewhere I can't hit him, unless you're a gunner, but...
Yeah.
Is 3 is the one that had the green Nargacuga, right?
Yeah, the green one that was barely different at all.
3U, yeah. I was gonna say, Nargacuga is another one. I mean, I love all monsters that are boss monsters. I'll say that right up front. There's nothing that no monster that I don't really like.
Well,
But
we
I
could
rem- I
we could do like
remember
worst monsters event one day.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be hard for me to pick one though, because I mean, there's some. Yeah, I don't know. I find greatness in just about all of them, even though people don't believe me. But what I was going to say about Nargacuga is I remember wanting to fight him so bad because we didn't know if we were going to get Freedom Unite, or we didn't know we were going to get that game for a long time in the U.S. and a lot of people following the 2G and that kind of stuff. And I remember that, at least for me and my brother, and maybe some other people, they speculated that Nargacuga's name, when localized, was going to be Panthrax. So it was
Panther.
Yeah, because it was like Tigrex, but it was a panther, so Panthrax.
Yeah.
And then you have the anthrax sort of mixed in there. So yeah, I like everyone's choices for sure, but I have fond memories of like wishing to fight Nargacuga for a long time. Cool. So for the final part of this question, this is a new one we've added recently. So if you had to date a monster, which monster would that be? Loborin.
So I still stand firm by this with Mitsune, because you can go to hot springs, relax, chill, have some nice tea, because it's got that real like kind of Japanese flower tea garden kind of feel about it.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't instantly get angry at you because it's just trying to chill.
Cool. Yeah, just some context, Zekrom. We had this as a question a long time ago on the previous podcast, and Loborin was part of that podcast. So,
no, that's a hard one. Like, I'm trying to think. I mean, it all goes by physical appeal, I guess, at this point. But I'm trying to think of my personality as a monster with Loborin's answer here. I guess I would say, I don't know. Like, going by appearance, I would just... No. I'll go with Narcilla, just because I'm weird like that. I don't know. That's like Narcilla would be like right at fourth, because I think it's a really cool monster, and I'm really glad it came back in Double Cross. Plus, we don't...
Oh, that's hilarious.
We don't get a lot of insecty monsters half the time in the games.
No, we don't. That's a shame.
Part of me wants to fight a giant centipede, and the other part of my mind screams, no, please.
No, centipedes, no thank you. But like, doesn't Frontier has like a scorpion guy, right? That's Frontier only or something?
It looks so cool.
Akura Vashima, I think is his name.
Yeah, that would be cool if we got something like that.
Of all the Frontier monsters, I think he's the one I've wanted to fight the most. He's also partly why I've always played Skarner in League of Legends.
He's really close, huh? He does have the crystals all over him and stuff.
Yeah.
I never made that connection.
I definitely did. He was the first hero I bought in that game. But yeah, it's another game. Okay, great. So I mean that was pretty quick for intro. Typically that's like a 45-minute section, so cool.
I didn't want to take up too much of your guys' time with all the backstory of the first moment I saw a monster or something.
Well, I mean, it helps give context to people, listening. So don't worry about it. I went on for maybe 30 minutes for my first one. It's maybe I'm just full of myself. Who knows? But
no, it's just because the first time I played Monster Hunter, I remember this looks like a raid boss, but why is there only 4 people walking around? Because it was Fatalis. My friend was fighting Fatalis when I was visiting him, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm playing Monster Hunter," and I'm like, "What is this? Like, you hunt bosses?" I'm like, "That sounds fun." But then he gave me the Wii remote, and I was like, "This feels terrible," but I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so does this thing have armor and weapons and stuff? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, how many slots? And he's like, how many slots are there in Monster Hunter? I forget already. 6?
5.
5.
An amulet.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you can count the amulet, but
Because
it's
like
not really an
in
amulet.
MMOs, I was used to
Yeah.
like the 5 plus a main weapon plus an offhand. It was just weird to me, like why don't you have like a secondary offhand weapon? But then we kind of got that with the Kinsect, with the glaive, and that was that came later, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like insta die the first time I tried Monster Hunter, but I don't really remember. I was just super hyped for 3U to come out because I did not want to play it on the Wii with those controls. I wanted to play it on my 3DS, and just a lot of great memories with 4 friends sitting in a circle just playing until our 3DSs were super low on battery, and then we would all go into an outlet and still keep sitting around each other while we just kept key quest grinding up through HRs.
Nice.
I remember why I bought Try on the Wii. It was in like the used section at GameStop or something, and it was heavily marked down. I think because 3U had come out, and so everybody turned in their Try versions. And I remember thinking, this is cheap. Oh, hey, that's a badass dragon. And I grabbed the game.
What was
That
the
was
cover
the
for
thought
Try?
process behind that purchase.
The cover for Try was just Laggy by itself, right?
For Try. Yeah,
I'm going to look it up.
Laggy was there.
Yeah. And then for 3U, like they bumped it up to Bracky. Was Bracky brand new for that game, or was he in Try?
He was new in 3 Ultimate.
Right.
Yep,
okay.
It was just a Lagicris doing his thing.
So all of that aside, so I'd like to get into the main topic here, and it's actually a 3-parter. So I'll give you guys a little bit of heads up to think about the other ones, because I'm going to start off with my answers anyways. But with Marvel vs. Capcom getting Monster Hunter in it, which is something that a lot of fans have wanted for a while, and the Monster Hunter team was like, no, don't do that. But eventually someone caved, and now we have the Hunter in sort of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It got me thinking 3 things. One, if you were to genre bend Monster Hunter like they did for Monster Hunter Stories, what would be another genre you would want to take Monster Hunter into? Another one is if you were to cross Monster Hunter with another series, like kind of like the Marvel versus Capcom idea, except it's like so-and-so versus Monster Hunter, or like just a game that is a cross of the 2 games, what would that be? And third of all, if you were to have a game that was it had, so kind of like what they did with Metal Gear Solid, where they had that secret area that had some Monster Hunter stuff, what would be another game that you would do that with?
That was sick.
So those are the 3 questions. So the first one, and we'll just go by the first one. So if you were to genre bend Monster Hunter into another game, what do you think that would be? And for me, I would want a tactical RPG, kind of like Mario vs. Rabbids, XCOM, and that kind of thing, where you control a team of hunters in a village, and it's a turn-taking tactical RPG against the monsters.
That would be actually pretty awesome. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you could do a lot with it. You could start to actually sort of, based on how Mario vs. Rabbids works, where if some people aren't aware of what the game is, it's basically just a tactical RPG with Mario and Rabbids, and they can do stuff like jump off of each other to get better distance and that kind of stuff, and cover and all that sort of tactical RPG stuff, except they added in a lot of options of like basically teamwork, where they boost each other up or flip each other across the field or that kind of stuff. So you could actually see some of that coordination that you see, especially in the Monster Hunter Generations intro, where is it the Great Sword user that rolls over the Hammer user's back or something? Like something like that happens, where you could actually see like some sort of like coordination in the fight. Now granted, because it's turn taking, you don't see it all at once, but some of those games do offer like a real-time playback, like you just let to watch it in replay, and I think that would be really cool to just sort of have a tactical RPG that, so essentially the game works the same, except you're managing a team of hunters instead of, or a full village or a town, instead of just your hunter.
Sounds
Yeah.
kind of
No,
like.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it sounds kind of like D&D, where it's basically it is a real fight that's happening. It's just being played out in 6-second intervals of turns.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just how that genre plays out. It's, yeah.
They've taken that
fun.
first step with stories, so maybe they'll keep pushing depending on how stories does. But yeah, no, that sounds cool. Plus, speaking of what Lobo said, people have made D&D translations of Monster Hunters, but people do that with lots of games all the time,
Yep.
though.
Yep. Full disclosure, I am also a moderator of D&D Behind the Screen. So I've been working on an ecology post, that's what I do there. I do ecologies for monsters. I've been working on the Flying Wyverns ecology, sort of a crossover between Monster Hunter and D&D.
Wait, was that your post that I saw?
That made the D&D stats for
Yeah.
monsters? No.
Oh, okay, that was someone else.
I'm not a stats person.
Okay.
But it was a very brilliant post that did make me think, like, maybe I could do that eventually.
Yeah, I did send that to some of my friends for further play.
Awesome. So, Zekrom, Lobo, do you guys have any ideas of how you would genre bend the game?
I do have one.
All
It's
right,
kind
Okay.
of silly.
you can go
So
first.
there was a PS2 and GameCube, I could be wrong there, game a while back that was called Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. It was a fighting game of just everything all the Godzilla monsters in a fighting game. 3D environment.
I
with
had it for
destructible.
GameCube. I loved it.
So did I.
Can I
had it
just
for
get
GameCube
that,
also.
but we pick from the roster of all the monsters? Like, I want to have a fighting game where I can have a Brachydios beat down a Devil Joe or whatever in real time between people. I think that'd be great.
Did you ever play the fighting game Warpath Jurassic Park?
I did not, but I heard about it.
It kind of reminds me of that too. It's the same concept. You're playing the dinosaurs, but they're in a fighting game. Except the Warpath was a 2D fighting game, and had like combos and everything. It was so funny.
Another one sorry, go on.
It was just see an Ankylosaurus like spin combo a T-Rex in the air and juggle him was just so funny.
That sounds awesome. Another
that was
game
good.
that is comparable to Destroy All Monsters would be that would also kind of fit that Monster Hunter thing of just monsters fighting monsters is the Zoids Battle Legends.
Right, yeah, those games are pretty similar, yeah.
Because my main reason for bringing that up is because certain monsters, wouldn't be really a match for each other. Like, yeah, it'd be funny to see a Cantor go against a Jaggy, but not really balanced.
That's what they did in Warpath. You could have like a Velociraptor, I almost called him a Velocidrome or a Velociprey. Velociraptor go against the T-Rex, and it was just totally unmatched. It was, but I don't think they cared. Like, it's just like, that's what it is. Like,
So that's what I want, is just a monster fighting game.
cool. I mean, fighting is an easy translation, which is, I think, why MVCI got it first.
Yeah, took them a while.
It did. Zekrom, what about you?
All right. I mean, I don't want to start a riot here, but I think, and I know this there's like a app similar to it, but like we need like straight up Hearthstone Hunter or something, or Hunter Stone or whatever you want to call it, because like there is enough.
So, like a collectible card game based on Monster Hunter?
Yep. And then like
I can see that.
because like you have enough monsters, like joke monsters plus serious raid boss monsters, and plenty of weapon classes, and then you can have cards that are like tripped on bomb, or like the monster exploded your bomb before you could actually lay it down, or sleep bomb and all that good stuff. Or like the cats would throw a lot of like humor in there for the cards.
I have
Sure.
I have a suggestion towards that idea. Have you ever played any of those DC deck builder games, or any of the deck builder games where
I played
it's
the
technically
Marvel
all
deck
four
builder.
people working against like one thing?
Yeah, I played the Marvel Builder once. Yep.
You could kind of have that for Monster Hunter. Each person takes a weapon, and like the deck of bosses to flip over is just a deck of monsters. So you're cooperative, but not quite cooperative.
That sounds really fun. That idea is so good. You should write that down right now.
Kickstart it. Go.
Yes. I will give it.
Not that you would get the approval from Capcom.
I
Yeah.
will give it 3 weeks for a DCMA notice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty protective of that stuff. Cool. I mean, that's a good one. I never thought of that, and I love collectible card games. I was big into Magic for a long time.
I know they have like
Flying
an
kids.
app which might have like monster cards because like there's monster cards on the Wikia, so they have like the assets for it. But I really want them. I really want them to like play into like the Hearthstone kind of thing, where it's like more like this is like Hunter sitting around a table strategizing what would happen, and like you play it out.
Are you guys familiar with the mobile game Puzzles and Dragons?
Yes.
Yep.
I played it for a while, then had to quit.
Had to.
So there is a Monster Hunter event, or there was some sort of deal where they did cross over Monster Hunter into Puzzles and Dragons, and there are Puzzles and Dragons Monster Hunter things.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Shady Figure it was pretty big into Puzzles and Dragons, and he was like really excited, and he was talking about it to me one time. Like, I used to play Puzzles and Dragons. I'd been out of it by the time this happened, but yeah, it's out there. I think it was part of the Double Cross promotion stuff because the Deviant Diablos is one of the cards.
Oh wow.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, and it's apparently a really powerful one in the game. And I would have, if I was still playing Puzzles and Dragons, I would have. Well, I almost picked it up again because of that, honestly. So yeah, I think there's a high potential for definite genre bend there. Especially, I think I like your idea the best, Zekrom. Like that really appeals to me.
Yeah. No, it's just like because when Hearthstone first came out, I'm like, wow, this is a fantastic idea. Are they gonna make StarCraft, Heroes of StarCraft also? But like they never, like they're they're really like just keeping us to the Warcraft thing. But I'm like, like it's a good structure. Like use it for other things, And like people don't really do it justice like the Blizzard does it with their care. So it's just like you just have to try hard. I think like the closest thing out there right now is like this game called Shadowverse. You might have seen it on Twitch a couple times when Crip gets sponsored to play it. It's just like it's Hearthstone but anime.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't like Crip.
He's
I'm a huge Diablo fan, and he snuffed us hard.
oh, ARPG Monster Hunter. Anybody? That sounds.
I would like it, but I don't think that it would work out too well,
Yeah.
just because the nature of...
Oh, the random weapon
sort
drops would go against like the whole grind it out till you make your own character.
Well, that and the sort of pseudo many enemy idea.
Mm.
Like, what do you got to do? Throw thousands of Velociraptor at us and just throw a Velocidrome at the end of the map? Like,
That
I'd
is
feel
true.
very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen is you're going to have like, okay, here's a bunch of baby Rathalos and Rathians, and then
I
it's
mean,
gonna be
they-
a troublesome pair.
I'm just
Stories-
imagining their stupid the system that Diablo uses where they put little prefixes on thing like flaming jailer da 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 da. I was thinking of like flaming jailer molten screaming Kezu and just being
no.
the worst thing to fight.
I bet you could get some pretty decent modifiers onto some of these. So like you said, like you could probably like mix and match monsters, and it would just be like these like Frankenstein of Monster Hunter monsters that have these affixes. So like you would have screaming, which means they upgrade the roar to high earplugs for like every monster. So they would just pitch shift up like a kazoo, or like they pitch shift up like a kutku, and it'd be like this. Like when it roars, it does a high grade earplug. Oh man, that'd be great.
That's cool until you accidentally get like a screaming molten Tigrex and people die.
Oh,
Shot.
I mean, it kind of already is one, right? I mean, it kind of already has all of that, the high grade earplugs you need and that kind of stuff, and it is molten already. And you could have elemental changes, like it's a fire element kazoo and that kind of stuff. And
Or did you guys get to the
Uh,
end of For You? Because I remember the Molten Tigrex is one of the reasons that just like I just hit that wall and I just couldn't go further at For You with the Molten
I
Tigrex.
honestly am okay with Molten because he moves slower than a normal T-Rex.
That's true, but like
yeah, I
that
never had that many problems with him.
it's just like that one mission. He was like half the field, and it's like just a circle field, right, where he's at, and I'm just like,
The tower.
yeah. So I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, and I think I can only get like 3 hits, or else like I get knocked out. And then like you have 4 towers to hide behind before he destroys them all. But then again, I was just trying to solo him because I like to solo through Monster Hunter games until like, yep.
I end up doing it myself, so I did solo that. I won't say I beat it on my first try, but I don't feel like I had a over difficult time of doing it either. Mostly because I think that's the first time I fought Molten Tigrex at that point.
Yeah, me too.
So I was like, okay, so what's going on here? But he gets faster as he gets more damaged, or just as the fight goes on too. That's where he started to get a little overwhelming, is when he got faster. I was like, okay, this is picking up speed. I don't like this. Mommy, I need help. Cool. So I think we can go ahead and say, for just a full crossover, what would you like to see? Sort of, it doesn't have to be like a Monster Hunter game, per se, but like, or the other game per se, it could be like something entirely different. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this, like the action RPG that's Monster Hunter in this, like, whatever. But that's like 2 series that you think would go well together. And personally for me, I've tossed a lot around with sort of like what you could do, like what you could mix with everything. But honestly, I think the easiest one, and it's already been done, we've mentioned it before, is just a D&D Monster Hunter crossover. Just entire crossover. Something probably in the vein of Neverwinter Nights, that kind of thing. That is sort of an action RPG, but it's not. It's kind of like its own D&D genre action RPG. You know what I mean? Like you can be slow paced with it. You don't have to have multitudes of enemies in that. That's
There's an ironic thing is that the one I have is actually made by Capcom also, which makes it really weird.
Sure.
No, it's just like there's this game. I don't know if you guys ever played. Have you guys ever played Dragon's Dogma?
I've heard it's great.
It's great. What's up?
Dragon's Dogma, I think, was supposed to be like, the Japanese like Monster Hunter. Well, do you think the West would maybe like a westernized pseudo version of it, and we call Dragon's Dogma? That's at least I feel like what they did. Like,
I mean, it's smoother. You can climb on monsters. Like they have skills and abilities. I'm like, it's either published or made by Capcom. I haven't double checked, but
it's made by them.
Yeah. So I'm like, how? I mean, was this like trying to be separate? But like, why didn't it just like keep the branding? But I get what you mean. Like they were probably trying to reach to a different audience.
Yeah.
But on like the reverse end though, I've always had this, and I know it's this idea, but it's never gonna happen. Like I really wish, like we could hunt like legit Pokemons, but like Nintendo would never let that happen. Cause like I've wanted to like mount a Rayquaza and just like stab it till it falls.
It's basically a Dalamadur.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like some of their legendaries are well designed, like physically looking, and I'm like, but like it's just like a skin basically. Like Toestra is basically like an Entei or. But they have a lot of birds though, so I don't know how well that would work with like a Mephisto being skinned 3 times. Like that kind of crossover would be cool, but I'm sure that would never fly with the Pokemon company.
A Groudon
there's been a lot of fan art of that.
A Groudon is basically a Cantor.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the one where the guy is like basically wearing Pikachu skins and has a spear?
Yes.
Oh god.
That one's great. That's cool. Yeah. That one. I guess see a lot of people going for that one, especially if they don't like Pokemon.
I mean, I like
I
Pokemon.
get to kill that crap. Oh yeah, I do too. I did at least.
I think the main appeal of it is like the armor sets you can make out of their designs would be ridiculously good looking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't play Pokemon seriously anymore. I think I've played every main series Pokemon game, but at this point, like I play through the story of the game and like the Elite Four or whatever the equivalent is, and I'm just done. And lately, what I've been doing is I've been theming my character. So the last couple games, I've made myself a bug catcher, and I call myself like Bug Catcher Fort, and I only catch bugs and. And what was it? Sun and Moon. I was Bird Catcher Fort, and I only had bird Pokemon. And so yeah, I make my own fun out of that game. But yeah, back to Monster Hunter. I think that's a good crossover too. Lobo, what about you? What's a good full crossover?
So I gave a small hint at it earlier, but I'd like to see a Zoids kind of crossover with Monster Hunter in terms of either bringing their mechanical beasts into Monster Hunter that you have to fight with their missiles and everything.
I am so down
or
with that idea.
Making mechanical versions of our existing monsters.
Yes.
From Monster Hunter.
Everything yes to that, yes. I was so excited when I saw the trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm like, it's happening. And then you see like, oh, it's just like adventure-y. It's not like a hunting game. And I'm like, never mind. Because like Machine Hunter would be cool, in my opinion. But
because can you imagine a mechanical Teostra? That's basically what a Liger is, or Liger Zero is. And
okay. I am not familiar with Zoids.
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
So you know Gundam, right?
Yes. Oh no, I know what the Zoids are.
Oh, you just haven't done it. Okay.
Yeah, I had a cousin. She was really into them. I think she's still into them, and I was just like, "Hey, cool! They're mechanical things. More power to you."
But I thought that'd be cool. I do have another minor suggestion, but I just want to see it because it'd be goofy looking. Cabela's Big Game Monster Hunter.
Just a railgun shooter of Monster Hunter, because that's what Cabela's feels like to me. It's not really railgun. I played it on the Wii at least. Like I don't know.
It's just bow guns and
like traditional hunting, traditional real life hunting, I should say. Yeah. By the way, I didn't want to discount your Zoids topic. I just I don't have a lot of experience with Zoids.
Yeah, it's hard to get into something you don't know quite a bit about.
Well, he's not really saying. I mean, you're saying Zoids, but I think he's mostly focusing on mechanical monsters and bringing the genre into a futuristic hunter,
Sure.
So I think he's leaning more into the guns, better guns for him, or a revamped gunplay for you, since you like to gun a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I would say a lot of people sort of looked at Horizon Zero Dawn as possibly that.
Yeah.
I haven't played Horizon.
It's a good game.
PS4.
It's a good game.
Just no desire to.
Yeah. It's not a Monster Hunter game or a hunting game, whatever you want to call the genre, but it's a good game though.
Yeah, a lot of people were really hyped, oh well, look at this giant T-Rex thing. It's like Monster Hunter combat. And I'm like, nah, not really. I mean, even for the E3 stuff they showed, I was like, I mean, it's hard to tell just from that one video, but
there were a couple cool monster fights in that game. I think there's some Storm Eagle thing you have to hit with harpoons to chain it to the ground so you can actually kill it. Otherwise, it destroys you with electricity and crazy stuff. But gameplay wasn't there for that.
Yeah, but Monster Hunter isn't really about. I mean, you can do traps, but that's not you have to trap it to damage it here. It's not a puzzle in the fight something like that would be. You know what I mean? It's not.
But giving
it's literally tooth and tail, just fighting.
Right.
Whereas, that sounds oh no, it's not vulnerable unless I do this and this. And it's kind of like a raid boss-ish thing, which I've only ever raided in one game, and that's Destiny 2, and just I get the idea though that you kind of have to solve the puzzle of the fight more so than do the fight. It's survive and solve the puzzle versus.
But that sometimes turns into a detriment. It's all fights are the same. There's figure out the puzzle
because of this thing.
Yeah, figure out the puzzle, opens damage phase, spam, 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 do it again. That's the good thing about Monster Hunter. It's like you can be fast if you know what you're doing. You know, you don't have to wait for like this immunity phase to go away and stuff like that.
Just as a note, why don't we have like a giant flying electrical bird thing in Monster Hunter? I think that'd be awesome.
I do have a question. So, what's your guys' opinion about Valfalk? Because like Monster Hunter has always been
Jet Dragon.
yeah, like people have always been like, oh, keep it like all natural, like realistic, like realistic as in like biological.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah.
like-
There's always justification for all of.
But like
their things,
Valfalk
yeah.
is like one of the first steps. Like this is a jet. This is a jet monster.
I think it's
So-
kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if this was mentioned.
Because I know you guys
Yeah, I
talked
think
about
it was mentioned
Nakarkos.
episode 1.
Yeah, you guys talked about Nakarkos, but I don't know if you guys talked about Valfalk before.
So one of the things that you could justify. So there's flame sacks, right? That's an established thing in the universe.
Yeah.
They can spit fire. They can basically cause ignition and that kind of stuff through chemicals and however they explain that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you think about sort of a self-starting beam like Gravios, right? Gravios can just shoot that beam, right?
Yeah.
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 Now think of those sacks in the wings pointing backwards, and that's how I would justify Valfal.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. I think he's dope, but like I know some
Yeah,
people
yeah,
like
I love him.
question.
Oh no, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's the longest stretch in logic that I've ever had to do to describe something in Monster Hunter yet.
Yeah.
Maybe even Blast Slime. That one is just hard to get around your head around too, because like, how does he secrete that much and just like not intake that much water or whatever he does?
why is he not?
Like-
why is he not blowing up on his fist? Why is it only when it touches the ground it decides to blow up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it eventually blows up on him, but like,
I think it's like
yeah.
he sweats nitroglycerin, I guess, like naturally or something.
yeah,
Oh,
it's something
this is a
like maybe
sidebar,
he
but
can
you know
control
how,
the secretion. I don't know.
Valfalk does the little when he's gonna fire up his stuff, he does those little red particles everywhere.
Mhm.
If you ever get a chance to watch Gundam 00, that's the exact same red particle thing that they use for their boosters and their engines and jets that they have on their back. Those little red particles.
I guess it's supposed to be like a sign of energy is building up. Watch out, watch
Yeah.
out.
Nice shortcut for it, yeah. Visual shortcut. Okay. So, there we go for the second one. So the third one is if you were to put Monster Hunter as like a secret bonus or that kind of thing, like an Easter egg in another game.
Oh.
That was the third one, sorry. Anyways, so the third one, having Monster Hunter as an Easter egg in another game. So just a little context of what I was thinking of is I really like that Doom, the 2016 version, made a call out to Skyrim in it. And a couple other games where you go into a secret room, but the one in Skyrim is there was a burned up skeleton wearing the iron Dragonborn helm and had an arrow in his knee. And it's a total serious game, but like it was like paying homage not only to the game but to a joke in the game. So I would like to see something of like that serious of caliber have like a reference. And the one that really I want to see that's also another Capcom game to have like another reference like that is I want to see a Resident Evil, because Resident Evil does zombie whatever, zombie everything, zombie super sci-fi. Like I mean, Nemesis is like one of the craziest like monsters that exists. It's like unkillable rocket launcher wielding gargantuan zombie. So. And they've had like zombie plants if you played Outbreak, and they've had zombie elephants, and like that kind of stuff. I would really like to see like a zombie Monster Hunter monster appear in like maybe like a bonus boss in one of the Resident Evils. So like you imagine like a zombie Rathalos, or I think an interesting one would probably be like a zombie Devil Joe, just sort of pull in like that zombie T-Rex idea.
No, that's
like
going
that.
far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a really fun like Easter egg, or just put it in the full game, but like a nice fun call out to Monster Hunter from another game. So that kind of gives the context along the lines that I was thinking.
Okay.
Just based on the games I've been playing lately, I think it'd be a neat one to take for what's it called? Warframe. Since you are used to these strange all the like the generals in space are always like, oh, the Grenier have gotten a hold of a new technology or a new virus or a new thing. Like have it be like on just like Earth somewhere. They're like they've uncovered this rare fossil and they're attempting to revive it, and you go down to fight it, and it turns out it's like Agnactor or a Rathalos out of nowhere, and you have to suddenly deal with this giant monster.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you explained it because I haven't played Warframe, so
It's just a
kinda get an
magical
idea.
ninja robots fighting in space with guns.
Yeah, I mean, I cursorily know, but yeah, I'm glad you explained like the context of how you would find it is what I was saying.
Oh,
Like, yeah, because I've been offered to play that game several times, and I'm just like, I don't want to.
Especially since they've now introduced this like open area, like open world zone. They could put like a monster like that in the open world zone. It's just kind of a 1 in 100 spawn of, oh hey, look at the thing that we made show up.
Okay, cool.
Mine might be like a little tame, but like I think like the easiest one would be like Dark Souls, like combat similar, like boss levels are similar. Just like you walk into like I don't know, like like a museum or something, a museum room, and then like I guess the dark spirits of Dark Souls like bring one of the monsters to life. And I would feel like for some reason I feel like it'd be something funny like a Barioth, just like Baroth, that the shovel one, the one that's like that
Yeah,
was
they're
just
very
like,
close in name.
like just the
That's
one,
excusable.
the one that just like
Yeah.
scoops you up and like you like throw you off like the ledge and then cheap game over, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it's not something that's too magical to be out of place, like no fire breath or stuff, but it's there.
Well, they already have dragons in there, so like it wouldn't be too like a Rathalos actually would fit in way too well in my opinion. I wanted to choose one of like the uniquer monsters because like fire breathing dragons already checked on that game's list.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, fire is probably the most common element in Monster Hunter too. So it's not like.
But I think it would
It's
be
not
a
like
nice
it's unheard
surprise,
of.
yeah. Like if you just open a door and like you see like a more organic monster instead of like a medieval kind of thing, just standing there, past the fog gate for the boss. It'd be something different, but the combat would play well to it because Dark Souls is already like has like that heavy kind of feeling that Monster Hunter does.
I would say Dark Souls has a lot heavier of a feeling. I've always felt like Monster Hunter, at least in some degree, has been lighthearted.
I feel like it's gotten faster with every game. Like I feel like back in 3 it was like I don't know, I feel like it's gotten lighter as the games have gone by.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys played the new South Park game yet?
Not yet.
No, I've been watching a Let's Play by Jesse Cox though.
I just thought of a scene where like one of the monsters shows up and like Cartman yells at somebody like, "What is this? I told you we're not playing your stupid monster game."
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be good. Like just like a nice sweet Easter egg instead of like a full monster fight. Just like stop playing with your stupid. Like they'll do it like one of their, like South Parkisms of a series.
We're not playing Monsters and Hunters. God,
We're not playing Hunters of Monsters. Shh. Kyle, get out of here.
Well, knowing them, they feel we're not playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a funny conversation I had. So back when 4U came out, so like I was playing heavily at uni, and I would sit around a group of people that all had the 3DSs, like the weeb I am. But so like another person would be playing Animal Crossing, and I'd be like, "What's so?" Because I don't like Animal Crossing. No, like I don't like. It's just not my taste. But you can like it if you want to. Well, like, what's the point of that game? You just do the same things to get new stuff to put in your house. And then they asked me like, and then I'm like, then they're like, "What's the point of your game?" I'm like, to hunt things, to get stuff to put on my body is like it's the same. I'm like, no, it's not. Mine's cooler.
Oh, you guys probably know this. Animal Crossing does have a crossover with Monster Hunter now.
Oh, really?
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
If you scan one of the Monster Hunter amiibo figures, a feline moves into your village. He's just a cute little cat villager, and he brings in some
Nice.
Monster Hunter
right.
decorations like an egg nest and the treasure or the supply chest and a cooking meat that you can actually interact with, and it plays the cooking meats music. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and also
No, I never knew that.
a set of
Neither did I.
Rathalos armor that you can display in your house.
I actually had forgotten about the Monster Hunter amiibos that USA doesn't get, so I'm like,
I
oh,
just
okay.
need a Monster Hunter amiibo figure now.
Yeah, I kind of do want to get those for the collector in me. I do have a Monster Hunter collection. It's not very robust. It's mostly just the games. I don't have a lot of figures. I do have a lot of t-shirts. I think I have 8 Monster Hunter t-shirts. Yeah, a lot. Redbubble. Yep. But yeah, I just have the games. I have a couple of the Japanese ones. I do have the second special edition 3DS.
The silver one, right?
Yeah, that is the Generations one.
Oh, okay. Not the silver one from
Not
4.
the silver one. I wanted to get the silver one, but I think when 4U came out, I had just got off of unemployment because I had not because I got fired or anything, but I had a contract that expired, and I was looking for the next contract basically, and I was in between jobs, and then that came out, and I was like, I can't afford it. I just can't. So
I actually had a funny dilemma because that was the same time the Majora's Mask one came out, and I'm like, do I want the Majora's Mask one or do I want the Monster Hunter one? And like, naturally, I want the Monster Hunter one, but like, the bad person in me is like, oh, keep the Majora's Mask one just because it's rare. But I guess they both end up being rare. A guy messaged me asking about the Monster Hunter, so I sold it to him for normal price. I didn't like scalp it or anything. Wait, no, I think the Monster Hunter cost more because it actually came with the game, like a download code. So it did technically cost more than the Majora's Mask 3DS.
I don't remember it costing more. I think it was supposed to be 300, right? Which was no 250, 200, 250.
I can't
remember.
I got my blue one for the same cost as a normal DS. I actually just traded in my other one.
Yeah,
which is good because my button was running out, or one of my shoulder buttons was not working because I was keeping it in my pocket wrong.
That's the one thing that makes me happy about the Switch is like if I'm rough while I'm hunting, I don't have to replace the whole system.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a definite plus. I do have a connection issue with one of my Joy-Cons. It's not like the whatever sensor issue that was happening with because I have a launch model, but I didn't have that problem. It's I don't know, for some reason the right one can slide off without me pushing the button. It's just that one thing. But cool. So I think that wraps it up for the main topic I wanted to get into. We'll just move into the final sort of lighthearted thing. And we're going to kind of go along with the same theme of like basically crossovers and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So just a little context as to why I thought about this one. Kind of a throwback the sort of Animal Crossing thing also. I never understood Animal Crossing, Farmville, any sort of like I'm doing things that I would do, people do in real life, and I'm calling it a game, right?
Yeah.
I've never got into those games. I'm always like, that's dumb. Why would I do that? That's just time management. I'll tell you what, though, Stardew Valley has me freaking hooked. And if you look at like stuff in Reddit, I've been asking a lot of questions about Stardew Valley because like I don't know what it is about that game. Well, I do know now. I've sort of boiled it down. Is I do like the sort of farming stuff that's sort of nice and easy going, right? But what really hooked me was the sort of like dating sim in it, Like you can get married and that kind of thing, which sounds weird, but I kind of like a good romance in a game or a movie or that kind of stuff. And that's how I felt like that was. Like the characters are really just like they become very fleshed out the more you get to know them in Stardew Valley. So what got me thinking of that is like, we talk about dating a monster. So how would you guys think a Monster Hunter dating sim would be handled? Now, we don't have to go into the weird spot where you're dating the monsters like Hatoful Boyfriend and those kind of dating sims.
That's actually what I was thinking.
No, you could totally go there if that's what you think would be an interesting one. But I think along the same lines of Stardew Valley, I think that you could be like sort of like a village simulator where you're a hunter and you're instead of farming, you got and hunt, right?
Yeah.
You still have to do the monster hunts, but it's simplified, and you do it in a day, and you'll have so much time. So the hunt has to let's just say realistically, like a good hunt takes 4 hours, and maybe you could do another hour, 4-hour hunt, but you're going to get low on health and energy and that kind of stuff. And the same way in doing the mines in Stardew Valley. It's really my only context for this.
Oh, and you could go out and do like supply quests too, and those would.
Yeah, you could take up time with supply quests and that kind of stuff. Basically, you're building yourself and your town up as a hunter, but then you also had to build relationships with the people in the town. And this sort of pseudo thing is you could have a relationship with other people in the town, like let's say the Quest Guild girl. She's like an option. Some fellow hunters are some options. The armor smith is an option. Like that kind of stuff. Like you could like get to know and like sort of like date other people in the Monster Hunter community. And I thought that would be like a cool idea for like a Monster Hunter / dating sim kind of thing.
And some of the hunters you could say like, well, it becomes less of a choice of, oh, do I want the heavy bowgunner or do I want the lancer? And more of a, who do I want to spend more time with today?
Right. So you learn to fight with that person more often or that kind of stuff. And you could have like multiple different like vendors to like have different things, but like you would go to that vendor more because they're more like your love interest in the game, that kind of thing. So like you could have like competing vendors if it's like a big city Monster Hunter or something. I don't know.
How far have you gotten in Stardew?
We're in year 2. My wife and I played together.
Okay.
So we're in year 2. We're married and we have a kid with Haley.
I wasn't sure.
My wife was not happy with. She's like, "Why did you pick like the popular blonde girl?" And I'm like, actually, I thought her character development was kind of the best in my head of what we saw so far. So whatever.
The reason I ask is because then because you mentioned like, depending on what store, similar to, it's like, oh yeah, you can either support the small, like kind of hometown vendor who doesn't always have what you want, or you could go to big Mega Mart person, and then the small town vendor may hate you more for it. Yeah,
I'm aware of the Jaja Mart thing. I've never even stepped foot in there.
Good.
In the save.
Don't support the man.
I do see half the town leave for that place when it opens, though.
It's like one of those everybody hates Walmart, but nobody's going to stop going to Walmart.
Nope.
Or McDonald's. So many people say how bad McDonald's is, and I kid you not, the McDonald's near my work, there's a line around that McDonald's every day. I cannot, not that I can eat McDonald's anymore being vegan now, because like there's not really good options there, but it's across the street from a Taco Bell, which, by the way, if you're vegan, Taco Bell is a really good
Yeah, because their meat isn't...
It's shocking to me.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things you can do, like hacks or whatever, but like replace taco meat with like black beans, which they do serve.
Offline, you need to tell me more about this.
Well, like, it's pretty simple. I'll just tell you right here. Bean burrito, no cheese. That's vegan. You're good.
Wow.
I add potatoes for like 75 cents. And yeah.
I had no idea. That's cool.
Yeah. I know it's weird. I'm a Monster Hunter. I have a I Heart Monster Hunter, and the I Heart is a well done steak, but I'm a vegan, so just part of the culture.
Well, you can say you're helping the ecosystem by thinning out certain monsters.
Oh, if I was probably in that world, I probably would have eaten meat and had no thoughts about it. Yeah. Cool. So what do you guys think? How would a dating sim work for Monster Hunter? Or at least a relationship mechanic, I guess.
I do like that idea of it depends on who you take out on hunts with you, and you start developing relationships with different hunters.
From what I understand, that could be like a persona thing also. I don't know how personas works.
It's just like you select if you want to go out on the date with them, and then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, I mean, it's scripted, you know, something cool just automatically happens. And then it's like if you spend enough time with them, like you hit like a threshold where it's like your friendship grew to the next level. Here's like a buff bonus, like, and then I guess that could apply to like hunts if you ever go out during the game too. Still.
Okay. I mean, it's not too different in Stardew Valley. You have to actively give them gifts. Like you have to talk to them, but that's about it. They're all shallow systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say Personas is much more in depth because in that one you have to balance, you know, being a high schooler and what girls you like versus going into like nightmare realms and fighting incarnations of your personalities, and it's very different.
Yeah. See, that's like the thing. Like, I'm a very like I don't like that stuff too much. It's like I like my Monster Hunter hunting. Like those first couple of quests, always hard to get through. But then, like once you get to the hunts, I'm more happy.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm gonna drop Monster Hunter for this idea. Monster Hunter is first and foremost my favorite game series. It was just, I don't know. It was something goofy to talk about.
Yeah.
That's saying I would totally love Hatuful Boyfriend, but with monsters.
Hatuful Hunter.
Yes.
Wow, that's a good title. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen a full play? I mean, I watched a full playthrough of it.
I haven't.
I never played.
I have.
Did Jesse Cox play through it?
No, Dodger. Who's also on the same podcast as Jesse Cox.
That also works. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched her playthrough of it. That is an insane game. Like, it's not like insane like, oh, it's funny because you're dating birds. It's like, no, it goes into some serious like dark places, and it's got like this whole other side of it that you don't even realize. Like a whole like other half of the game opens up once you've dated every bird or something like that. It's weird.
You know what? That'd actually be kind of neat for Monster Hunter. Not only are you like worrying about dating them and stuff like that, but then it turns out there are actual hunters in this world. So now you have to worry about like, oh, you know, you were dating this one person, but now they're no longer here because a party got, you know, together and went for
that's
them.
what my
or
idea was
something
going
like
to be.
that. Like have it be super serious.
Yeah.
And have hunters be the bad people.
Yeah, my idea was gonna lean towards that. I don't know if you guys ever played the visual novel series, the Danganronpa series, but like
I've heard of it.
I've heard they're good.
It does. The story is fantastic. It does have like a little mini like, you know, relationship sim part. You know, I just try to get over that. But like, yeah, I think the cool thing is like when you build a relationship that could get taken away like at a certain part of the story, depending on who you happen to choose to build a stronger relationship with, could like, you know, make a better Monster Hunter story with like, oh, you got close to your partner hunter, because, you know, it's like being a cop with your partner, you know. It's like if they go away, then it's like, well, you never feel the same.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. It's kind of it's not part of an official story, and if it is, and if this is a spoiler, you can edit this out or whatever. But the reason they have the 4 hunter limit is because one time there was 5 hunters. And the 5th hunter, like, dead, like, perma-dead, forever dead, no carding.
Oh,
and
really?
so they're like, no more than 4 hunters ever.
Specifically, he was impaled by a Monoblos.
Jesus.
Oh.
Yes, and it is the 2nd generation elder. The girl, the older elder there, it was her husband.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah. Go with something like that where, you know, oh yeah, your hunter friend can just die. So you could be bringing them on a hunt to spend more time with them, but in reality, you're bringing them on a hunt they have no safe reason to be going on, and you put them in danger.
Now, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I do know it was because a Monoblos killed someone and they were impaled, and I do believe it was that elder's husband. I could be wrong on that information, but I do know that it was a Monoblos. So
40 comments
just a little
on the
disclaimer.
post.
I think it's also a pseudo explanation why a Monoblos is an offline only thing too. I'm not sure on that either, but
Oh, is that a fact?
I could see that tying
It's never
into
been
it.
an online quest? Monoblos has never been an online quest?
I'm trying to think if that's true now. In the past, so in the first Monster Hunter, that was true, and in the Freedom Unite, that was true.
Well, I mean, he hasn't.
Is that true?
He hasn't come back from many games. I'll tell you right now. Like after they introduced Diablos, it's like.
Well, he's in 4U. Well, no, Diablos was in the same generation.
Oh, really?
Diablos has been in.
Okay.
Yeah, Diablos has been in since game 1, and up until Monster Hunter 4, he was one of 3 monsters to be in every game.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm assuming Wrath is one of them.
Oh, it's Wrath and
Rathian.
Rathian.
Yeah.
It's those two. Those are the only 2 that have been in every game now. Because Diablos missed both 4 and Generations. He no longer has that distinction, although he is a close behind them second because he was in 4U and now in Double Cross. So he's only missed 2 games.
Okay.
So, yeah, Monoblos and Diablos have always existed in the same game.
Oh, Monoblos was the offline final boss for the first Monster Hunter. Did not know that.
Yes, he's how you got the hero sword.
No idea. That's one thing I missed by not playing it.
Yeah, that's way back for me.
Yeah. It's funny because I've always liked Diablos and I've always liked Monoblos too. But they're kind of essentially the same monster. There's different designs. I just like the dual horn design over the mono horn design. That's all.
I like Black Diablos because its yell is so loud. Like it actually clips like certain speakers.
Yeah. Yep. Kazoo's the same way though.
Oh yeah, except his is more high pitched and less loud.
Also has that weird electronic humming in it. The whoa whoa whoa. Like that's the one that's like, wow, that's a serious roar. It's like causing like electronic noise. Of course, he has a lightning wyvern.
That's true.
Thank you, hunters, for joining us today. And remember, we'll see you next quest.
Adios.
See you later.
Thank you for joining us today, hunters. You can catch our latest episodes on SoundCloud, and everything else you can catch on Reddit, Google Drive Download, and YouTube.